What's happening? I'm Brent.
I'm Barry.
I'm Zach.
I am Eric, and we are the band Shinedown, and it is coming up on Attention's first birthday. And so we are going to tell you some of our favorite memories of the record or the touring cycle so far for Attention, and I'll take it first. I think that one of my favorite memories of this record was actually during the making of the record, and it has to do with my boy Barry Kirch here. We had written the song Creatures, quite a few months before we went in to record it, but it sounded completely different on the demo than it does on the record. And that is because we put Barry on the spot because we didn't really know what we wanted to do with the drums on it, and just put him out in the studio and let him free flow over the track that we had. And all those drum parts that he laid down underneath that song on the fly, I think he did 3 or 4 takes of it, ended up being the foundation for what that song became, all the accents and the rhythmic things. And I think it's really magical when you can just take something that when you created it had a different vibe to it, and turn it over to a talented musician and let them take the reins, because maybe you don't have all the answers all the time. You gotta rely on the people in your band. And Barry really kick-started that song and turned it into what you hear today. So that's one of my favorite memories of making Attention.
Barry.
Nice.
Mine goes back to the studio too. Not that I haven't had fun in the past year touring this record, but I haven't reflected on it yet. When you tour, I don't really reflect on the tour until it's all done and we're maybe getting ready to work on another album. But for me, it was also in the studio, and it was the environment of being able to trust in Eric and my guys and just have fun in his studio. There was so little pressure, and then also for me, while doing drum parts in Eric's studio, I got to pull my little camper into a campground in Charleston and bring Gorda, my old English bulldog. She was our little studio mascot for that time period. It was just a lot of fun.
Yeah. Mr. Myers.
The studio side was 2 things. It was like what Barry said. It was just us. There was no. We had a couple of our crew guys in there, but Eric Rickard, who's worked with Eric Bass for a long time. And there were no onlookers. There were no outside producers. There were no these other people that kind of. I'm not gonna say stifle creativity, but sometimes you may feel uncomfortable. I get red light fever in the studio where I get nervous when the record button happens, and that didn't happen this time. And then that felt really good. The guitarchestra was one of my favorite parts, where we had
Same song.
Yeah, on Creatures we had a bunch of guitar players come in and play with Eric and I and friends of ours, and it was a lot of fun having that kind of thing that Eric had this idea to do, and it ended up turning out really cool. And touring wise, this last tour that we did with Papa Roach and Asking Alexandria was the first true Attention headline tour.
Yeah.
So getting to play for 2 hours a night and play 6, 7 songs from the record
With 2 stages.
with 2 stages felt really good, because we were the headliner. It was our fans, and they knew every word to every new song. So to see the record and all your work put in kind of come to this point where all these people are coming to see your show and your new songs, and they all knew the new songs. That was big for me.
I'll say this, Jim. I hope I don't take your answer. But back to the live side of things, I think it was going over to Europe for festivals and seeing the growth of the band in a festival environment. Some of these festivals like Rock am Ring Rock Park in Germany and Download Festival, where I think in your mind you have in your mind's eye, in your past experience, you have an idea of what you think it's going to be, and there had been a definite shift this time when we went and played those festivals from where it was when we had last played them, and you can definitely see the growth that you want to see as a band and as an artist in the audience, and in the interest the audience has and the reaction the audience has to your music. So that was really special.
Just like fireworks on the record, fireworks in real life. So when May 4th came last year, and we were actually in the Carolinas, and the last song was the song Devil. The interesting thing too, when we were playing that show the day that the record came out, the albums that had been around for years of ours, which the audience knew those songs and knew those words, but there was just a different mood with the songs from Attention, almost like they already knew the songs. And why I bring up the fireworks is that we all wanted to have a big celebration, because we, from stage, basically announced that May 4th is forever, at least in our minds, it will always be Attention Day.
Sorry, Star Wars.
Well, we'll
share
it with you. But the thing about that is, you know, when people come to these shows, because the live aspect of what we do is such an important part of who we are, we want them to see a spectacle, and we want them to see a just over-the-top experience, because that's what it's supposed to be. And I remember shooting way too much money worth of fireworks that were 350 feet in the air, and we all just kind of looked at each other and was like, yep, wouldn't change it, would do it again. And guess what? It's getting ready to turn 1. If you thought the fireworks for the CD, the album release was big, oh Jacksonville. Oh Jacksonville. You wait.